the recording. All right. All right, welcome everyone. This is the Got Pain, soon to be the Trilogy Wellbeing Network. I'm Alex Loyd. The good-looking guy beside me is Dr. Tim Adair, and the other good-looking guy with the rainbow around him. And hey, everybody, that's not like contrived or anything. Everywhere he goes, there's a rainbow around him. So like at the parking lot, in the grocery store, everywhere he goes, there's this rainbow around him, and people just look and say, do you know you have a rainbow around you? Anyway, I'm kidding. That's Dr. Jordan Rubin, our featured guest for tonight. And then Laura is our host, who's handling the tech in the background. Thank you very much, Laura. And real quickly, what we're about probably 14, 16 months ago, I met with Dr. Tim Adair at lunch, and I'd had an idea that I'd been praying about and working on for years that primarily involved the chiropractic community, which is huge all over America, and rightly so. But in a way, that chiropractic community, I believe, was a little bit hamstrung. Their symbol is a triangle. And the triangle has three sides, and therefore three areas of our being: emotional, structural, and chemical. But the problem I saw was that chiropractors were forbidden by the United States government from doing mental or emotional health. Now, they could do a few things like Bach flower remedies, and those are great. But by and large, they were not allowed, and still aren't today. They'd have their license revoked for doing mental or emotional care. Well, we believe we can introduce that to chiropractic offices, along with a 12-item process that Dr. Adair has developed over 25 years called Quantum Next Steps. And then the third part of that, the chemical, is nutrition. And so a number of months ago, Dr. Adair and I contacted Jordan Rubin, who has been a friend of mine for, I don't know how long, Jordan, over 10 years, I know. And he happens to be, in my opinion, one of the world's experts on nutrition, all right? So Dr. Adair, the reason I met with him is if I was gonna do this, because it was gonna take a lot of time and energy, he was the only guy I was going to do it with. So if he said no, then I was going to drop it. All right. Well, when it came to the chemical side of the triangle, the only guy I felt confident working with was Jordan Rubin and Dr. Josh Axe, because I've known both of them and know they're men of integrity, they're men of faith, they're great people, and not only that, but they own one of the top nutritional companies in the world. And so we met with Jordan, and we asked Jordan if we could partner with them, with Josh and Jordan on the chemical nutritional side. And Jordan was so wonderful and gracious and agreed to do that. And we're so excited about that. And there is a chemical or nutrition that corresponds to each of those 12 Quantum Next Steps. And then there's also an emotional mental health intervention that corresponds to each of those 12 Quantum Next Steps. So we believe it's close to a turnkey system that chiropractors, naturopaths, spas can start utilizing to, number one, help their patients get well better, faster, and more completely. And number two, increase their revenues as well. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. And we're trying to build, and we believe we can do it, the largest natural health network in the world through chiropractic offices, naturopathic offices, and spas, okay? So without any further ado, because I think we'll have some questions tonight, we always do, but I think we may have more. I've been getting a few emails about it. I want to introduce Jordan, and let me share a couple of things with you. Jordan, is this familiar?
Yes.
Okay. This is Jordan's, I don't know if it's your first book. Was this your first book?
It was my third book, but the one that most people recognize.
Okay. And you may see here, it says New York Times bestseller. It was actually a huge bestseller. It's still a bestseller. It's still selling very well. I checked on that today. And the foreword was by Dr. Charles Stanley, who I have enormous respect for. I consider him kind of in the mold of a Billy Graham, where you got some preachers that maybe are a little bit more about the contributions and stuff sometimes than they are the faith. And I'm not trying to accuse anyone of anything, but Charles Stanley and Billy Graham, in my opinion, have lived a wonderful, humility-based ministry that is not about money, that is to help people. And so I have enormous respect for them. And Dr. Stanley had obviously enormous respect for Jordan to write the foreword to this book, which is absolutely wonderful. I would recommend it for everyone. Jordan, I bought this myself. You did not give me this, and you have not signed it. I've got to get you to sign it. But that's not the main thing I wanted to show people. But I did want to ask you one question about this. The back flap on you, it has your picture. Okay, there you go. You look just like that today.
Thank you. That's 20 years ago.
Yeah. And here's what it says. Here's what it says. He lives in South Florida with his wife, Nikki. All right. So has your family, is that still your whole family? Now you're still with Nikki, but who's your wife? But has your family grown any since then?
Yes. So we live in south of Nashville, Tennessee, and we have 6 children. So yes, we've been collecting kids over the last 20 years, but it's been a great run. And I've known you for 18 years, Alex, not 10, but it seems like only 10. That's good.
So people collect all kinds of things. You collect that, huh? You collect children.
Yes. But it's kind of like gifts sometimes come with return receipts. Sometimes you look for that with your kids. It just depends. But, right now, as we speak, I'm being Mr. Mom. So I've got my 3 youngest with me, and my wife is with others in Alabama. So we're on a new journey now. So we're kind of going back and forth. But yeah, it's been a great journey these last 20 years. You know, what's awesome about it is if you pick up the Maker's Diet, which is 20 years old, it's amazing. The 99.9% of what is in the book is more relevant today than 20 years ago. And a lot of times there are books where a practitioner, a health expert, a doctor will change their message, even going from plant-based to animal-based or animal-based to plant-based. But the great thing about God's word and the truth is that it is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So that book you're holding is an original edition. We did an updated version a couple of years ago, but I think 20 years from now, the principles will be even more well accepted because the truth is always the truth.
That's right. And when you say you've collected children, I want people to know that you have one biological
I'm not kidding.
child. You have one biological child, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The other 5 are all adopted, right?
Yes.
Yes. And which I think is so beautiful and wonderful. And man, I don't know how y'all did it. I mean, we had 2 kids and it was everything we could do. Well,
you were there for my first one, Alex, which is great.
I was. In fact, Jordan. Yeah. In fact, Jordan stayed with us a couple of weeks when they were adopting their first child here in the Nashville area. Okay, I want to play a little game really quick, okay? This will take like 3 minutes. There used to be a TV show in the 60s called To Tell the Truth. You remember that, Jordan? Did you ever see To Tell the Truth? Or
I didn't.
No, yeah, Alex, we're much younger than you, so you're going to remember that.
I know. Okay, To Tell the Truth, they would have one person who had done something that was sort of famous, and then 2 people who were just sort of had done, they were imposters. And then they would tell what the person had done, and you were supposed to guess which one was the real one. And they would pretend to be raising their hands and then put their hand down until finally the real person raised their hand. So I'd like to do that here, okay, for just a minute. All right. And I've got one fun fact about all three of us, and I'm going to read them all three. And then I want to see if anyone can guess.
Alex, before we play this game, will you comp me and Jordan some mental health therapy after this?
Yeah, of course. Okay. So here's the three statements. One of us has a black belt in martial arts and has won multiple martial arts tournaments as an adult. All right, that's one of us. Okay. Another one of us has had the biggest humiliation in the history of television, falling flat on their face as they were featured as a young child on the Saturday morning bozo show. That's another one of us, all right? And then the last one is this person was a major college cheerleader, all right? Okay, all right. So let's go with the first one first. Who do you think holds a black belt in martial arts and has won multiple martial arts tournaments? Who do you think that is? Is that me? Is that Jordan? Is that Tim? Who do you think that is?
Can I give a hint here, Alex?
Yeah.
What if I gave my favorite cheer?
Go.
Rah, rah, ree, kick him in the knee. Rah, rah, ras, kick him in the other knee.
Good job.
Okay. Black belt martial arts holder, raise your hand.
That's me.
That's Dr. Adair. All right.
It's because I didn't make the other team, obviously, right?
Okay. All right. Number two, major college cheerleader. Raise your hand. That's Jordan. And I'm the humiliated little kid on the bozo show, which was one of my huge early traumas that I still haven't gotten over today. I was supposed to be featured on the bozo show to sing a song, and they put the camera on me live on Saturday morning. All my friends from school are watching, and I froze like a deer in headlights until they turned the camera off and went to commercial. When I went back to school, you can imagine what I heard. And so that was me. All right. Okay.
Jordan, don't you think he's overcome his bashfulness?
Yes. And hey, I won a Taekwondo tournament as a yellow belt when I was 14 years old.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I just realized from pictures, though, I wore my protective cup on the wrong side of my pants. So I'm glad that I didn't face anybody really astute. That would have been tough.
So you didn't get kicked in the other knee, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, congratulations.
Okay, let's get serious. All right. Here's my little monologue for tonight. When I was in elementary school, one school day, one of my teachers said this, and it changed my life forever. It was the first time I'd ever heard it. I've heard it about 1 million times since. I'm sure you have too. And it was this: no one knows what you care until they care that you know. Okay? Until they know that you care. I said that wrong, didn't I? No one cares.
Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Sorry about that.
See, if you started that way, Alex, they would have known who froze on camera. It would have been easy.
They would. Yeah, okay. All right. So anyway, no one cares what you know until they know that you care. All right. And as soon as I heard that, it changed me. And I immediately resonated with that truth and made a determination that I wanted to be one of the people that cares, not one of the people that doesn't care, that is interested only in money or fame or power or something like that, okay? I've been in the business world now. I grew up in the business world. My dad was an entrepreneur. His dad was an entrepreneur. His dad was an entrepreneur, all right? I grew up in that. I've been around business people all my life, and some of them are wonderful people of integrity. Some of them are all about the almighty dollar, all right? And as I've done business, as I started my own business 24 years ago, I have tried my best to only connect and join hands and do things with people that really care, all right? Now, Jordan founded Garden of Life Nutritional Company. And when I first got to know him and I went to visit his dad, and then I met him in Florida, and he had nutrition boxes all over his dining room, all over his living room. He didn't have a house to live in, almost. There were boxes everywhere. The house was a warehouse. They were doing it on the cheap, you know, because they didn't have a lot of money then. Since then, Jordan sold Garden of Life for huge millions of dollars. He's a very, very wealthy man. I believe Garden of Life is still one of the top nutritional companies in the world. After that, he started Ancient Nutrition with Josh Axe, and it's now one of the top nutrition companies in the world. So Jordan is an extremely wealthy man. I'm a pauper compared to him. But that has nothing to do with why I want to be partners with and join hands with and do business with Ancient Nutrition and Garden of Life. The reason I want to do business with them is the same reason that I want to do business with Tim Adair, because I know that Jordan Rubin cares. I know he cares. I don't think he cares. I know he cares. All right. And I think I know why he cares. And it's two things. One is that the most important thing to Jordan in my 18 years of knowing him is not money. It is God and spirituality. Okay. That is number one in his life. He talks about it all the time. I don't know that I've ever had a conversation with him that did not at least eventually go there. Okay. Number two, he cares about his family and his friends and people that he loves and that he knows. And number three, he cares about his clients and customers of Garden of Life. And I think there's a huge reason that started in Jordan's life. And I may be wrong. I'm going to ask him in just a minute, but let me show you a picture first. When I first saw this picture, and I took it to my wife, Hope, and I said, Hope, I can't believe this. Look at this picture. Have you ever seen anything like this in your entire life? And she looked at it right beside me, and she did a double take. And she said, oh my goodness, is that like a Jewish person from the Holocaust? That's a person from the Holocaust, right? I mean, that's exactly what she said. And I said, I can't believe you said that. That's exactly what I thought the first time I saw it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a Holocaust survivor. It's Jordan Rubin. Can you see that?
Move back a little bit, Alex.
Back.
Right there. Back a little more.
Okay. Can y'all see that? On your, is that on their left or right?
Left.
Okay, let me see if I can get it a little closer. That's a little bit. Anyway, you can see on one side Jordan's picture when he was deathly ill, and then on the other side the picture of when he had been healed by God and I believe by some nutritional things that he discovered. And I believe that is at least part of the impetus of why Jordan is here tonight and doing what he's done for the last 25 or so years. So Jordan, as briefly as possible, because I think we're going to have a lot of questions tonight, Could you tell us the backstory of that picture?
Absolutely. I was at the time deathly ill for a year. So I had Crohn's disease and 18 other illnesses. I had already probably visited 50 health experts, conventional, failed, natural medicine failed. I was being taken care of at my parents' home like an infant. And I had gotten so weak with cachexia, losing muscle, and my blood levels were virtually nil. I like to describe myself at the time as being trapped in a prison that was my own body. I just couldn't escape this horror. I didn't sleep. I had an embarrassing disease. I was a teenager, and it's easier to tell your friends you broke your arm than you're in the bathroom 30 times a day with bloody diarrhea. So it was indescribable. A friend of mine insisted that she come to visit, and I didn't want to see anybody, as you could imagine. And when she got there, she actually read the Bible to me because my eyes weren't even working well anymore. And there was a verse that became my life scripture at the time, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, which says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And I sort of ignored it because it was a verse I knew, I heard in Sunday school, I memorized. On with that chapter in Hebrews 11, without faith, it is impossible to please God. Then in Romans, it says faith comes by hearing the word of God. And in James, it says faith without works is dead. Now, I was bedridden other than going to the bathroom. I was miserable. I didn't want to live anymore. I wanted to be with God for eternity. I just didn't want to be a part of this decrepit, degenerating body that I was living in. But I did have a little bit of faith. And when I read that, I thought, well, God, I'm obviously not someone who is a candidate for works that would sort of show my faith, because I was sick, right? And all of us think if we're down in the dumps with our marriage, with our finances, with our family, as soon as I'm better, I'll do something for God. As soon as I'm healthy, as soon as I'm wealthy, as soon as I'm married, as soon as I have kids. But I realized that my step of faith wasn't going to come because I had anything the world considers valuable. I didn't have an answer to my illness. I didn't have joy, but that didn't mean that I couldn't muster up enough faith to take 7 steps from that bedroom that I stayed in to a closet in my parents' house. And I yelled to my mom to come take my picture. And she said, Jordan, I don't want to take your picture. It breaks my heart to look at you. And I said, Mom, take the picture. She said, Jordan, can't we wait till you're better? I said, Mom, take the picture. She said, why do you insist I take the picture? And I said, Mom, because the world's not going to believe what God's about to do in my life. You know, as I think about this today, I don't even remember having that faith, but I can't now imagine not taking those steps, because my mom took a picture, and this was in the mid 90s. This was like with a camera and a flash and a negative that you have to have developed into a picture. Mm-hmm. And that photograph does much more than I can ever share in my story. It's worth 1,000 words, maybe more. And yeah. I said to someone today on a TV program, I said, there's a world who's deficient in vitamins and minerals. There's various sets of nutritional information that I share constantly. But the greatest deficiency in the world is hope. And I believe that more than anything, that photograph, that testimony has brought people hope that if this guy can get well, and he was so sick, and he tried so many things, and he was so desperate, maybe I have a chance to get well also. And people can argue with my nutritional advice. A lot of confusion out there, right? They can disagree with what I have to say. But one thing they cannot deny is this: once I was dying and now I'm well. And much like the man born blind in the Bible, when the Pharisees were asking him questions, who was this man that healed you? Was he a sinner? Was he not a sinner? He says, whether he's a sinner or not, I don't know. But what I do know is once I was blind and now I see. Never has a man been healed who was born blind. And I just praise God for my testimony, for that little gift of faith. In fact, 28 years later, I still pray for faith. I still need that measure of faith. But that one instance, I'm just thankful that I was faithful to God. And I guess before we get into the health message, if anyone's watching and listening, is there something in your life that you want? Is there a place you want to go? You want to cross over a major bridge? You want to get from your before to your after? Maybe you need to take a step of faith. Maybe you need to boast about your weaknesses, that the power of Christ may dwell in you. That's something I don't often get to share as I talk about this story, but maybe that's worth the price of admission tonight, because I believe your ticket to getting from where you are to where you want to go is a measure of faith that is so difficult. It's so counterintuitive and contrary to what we want to do, what our culture says to do. But boy, does it unlock God's gifts that he's holding for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jordan. It changed my life when I heard that from you personally years ago, and still does every time I think of it. All right, let's get to nutrition. We're carrying, what we're talking about tonight are 3 of your products. The daily, the greens with daily, the collagen peptides, and the ashwagandha. And I'm stealing Tim's question to lead you in. We're going to kind of alternate. And this is really Tim's question I'm stealing, but I liked it so much that I'm going to steal it, Tim. Sorry. Okay. One of Tim's things is that the best vitamin for you is whatever you are most deficient in. And Tim believes that especially may apply to your collagen peptides. What do you think, Jordan?
Well, I often hear people say or ask, is this product miraculous? Or someone will say, this has provided miraculous results. And I'll answer the question much the way Tim asked it. It's not miraculous. It's a missing ingredient. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes, if you think about it, if you have 6 digits to a phone number, or 8, if it's, use the area code, are you ever going to reach the person you call with 8 digits of a 9-digit phone number? Actually, it's a 10-digit phone number, forgive me. You got 3, 3, and 4. So you got 9 digits of a 10-digit number. You got a lot of guesses until you connect here. Collagen was part of our ancestors' diet virtually every day. And today, we are the first generation to consume virtually 0 collagen. Collagen is important for your bones, joints, ligaments, tendons, skin, hair, nails, probably your muscles, may play a role in detoxification, your gut, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you are supposed to consume collagen as part of your protein in your diet and you don't consume it, the missing becomes the miraculous. So I do believe that whether you're a preschooler, you need collagen. Whether you're in assisted living, you need collagen, and everyone in between. It's only miraculous if it's missing. And for 99.9% of us, that's the case. Our grandparents, they consumed it. Our great-grandparents, broths, soups, stocks, they would never eat an animal without at least simmering the bones, joints, connective tissue, or like my grandmother, just gnawing at the bones and eating every piece of grizzle she could. That's just what she grew up doing in Eastern Europe. But collagen is the glue that holds us together, and virtually everyone is deficient, which makes collagen a ubiquitous, universal nutritional tool that almost everybody can benefit from.
All right, Tim, next question.
Great answer. So Jordan, one of the things we were playing a little game before you came on, and we were trying to pick a name for Alex's future yacht. I don't even know if he likes boating, but anyway, I like to name the yacht. And so, so I'm kind of curious, what inspired you to name your company Ancient Nutrition? I think you kind of revealed a little of it there, but tell us that.
It's a great question. Sometimes necessity is the mother of invention. So believe it or not, Ancient Nutrition didn't start as a brand. It started as a product. I had a knee injury and I was consuming bone broth in order to overcome my knee injury because it contained collagen and all these great things. I couldn't make bone broth because I was on crutches, and my wife was raising 6 kids. So if I asked her to make bone broth for me, she probably would have hit my good leg. So I went and bought this organic frozen bone broth in bags that was just coming on the market. However, even though it was helping me tremendously, so much so that I was able to go to Florida to do a bunch of seminars, this bone broth was not available in Florida. So I asked my mom to find it for me. She couldn't. And I was about to do 10 seminars in 9 days, and I was just starting to walk again. So I was in trouble. Now, at the same time, I was working with Dr. Josh Axe to create the product you're referring to, multi-collagen protein, our first collagen formula. And we needed type 2 collagen. And I was experimenting with this broth extract that ultimately, and I'll skip forward, became our first product, bone broth protein. So we named the product, and then we said, well, we've got to come up with a brand name. And we believe that the entire nutrition industry is based on ancient wisdom and modern science. We named it Ancient Nutrition, and I am so grateful that name was available, because I got to tell you, it's hard to find any good names anymore. The reason I love Ancient Nutrition is it's more than a brand. It really is what our entire nutritional scientific body of literature rests on, because every single time you learn about a nutrient or a compound, the paragraph always begins with, in ancient times, people consumed X.
Oh, yeah.
Now they don't. Therefore, you need it. So Ancient Nutrition for a Modern World became our tagline. Now it's evolved into Save the World with Superfoods. It's all good. But it wasn't some very unique naming process. It was simply, wait a minute, we can't launch a product without a name. What better name than Ancient Nutrition? I hope it's available. Yay, it's available.
There's some brilliance in there, man. I like that. And I'll tell you this, I've been practicing long enough, not nearly as long as Alex, because I'm so much younger, but I've been practicing long enough that I've seen every generation, honestly, as they get further and further away from grandma's table, get weaker and weaker and weaker. And the more fast food and the more, gut destroying antibiotics and all that, and the further we get away from ancient nutrition, the worse people's modern health is. And so I think that's kind of brilliant.
Well, and I will say this, I think the three of us, I don't know, Dr. Tim, about you as much, but we're all sports fans to some extent, right?
By the way, Jordan was a cheerleader at Florida State University. Sorry, Jordan.
Tomahawk chop, baby. So hey, so I'm a sports fan, and I grew up loving baseball as my passion. Now I like basketball, football, and I check out tennis and golf and all kinds of different sports. Pickleball is awesome. So I have never seen the amount of injuries that we have today. So for example, ligaments, tendons, joints. So when I was growing up, there was a pitcher who had just retired named Tommy John. He got a surgery, an ulnar collateral ligament replacement. They called it Tommy John surgery because he was the first one to ever get it.
Boy, it's common now.
One out of 10,000 in the past. So now I believe if you look at young players, 1 out of 2 will have Tommy John surgery. A friend of mine's son just had it at age 17. Some pitchers are getting it twice. And now position players. Bryce Harper just had Tommy John surgery. You look at football. How many non-contact ACL, MCL, LCL injuries are there? Achilles tendon to non-contact means they're just running. Sorry, I'm getting animated here, and nobody says a darn thing. Well, it's the turf, it's the grass. Folks, it's a degradation of our collagen, and in my opinion, overuse of antibiotics in medication and in our diet. That combination is breaking down our gut. We're losing integrity of our joints, ligaments, and tendons. it's absolutely a travesty. So what's exciting is I was a cheerleader. My son is a college football player, which is even more exciting. And we are doing nutrition for his entire team.
Cool.
And we're considering working with the biomedical and science department at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, where my son's playing football, to do studies on what if we get an entire team on collagen for 5 years, incoming freshmen, and measure the injuries, measure the days they miss due to even bumps and bruises. But look, I know some people are listening saying, I'm not a professional athlete. What does that matter? Well, you know what matters? You're someone who wants to use your hands, walk up steps, play with your kids or grandkids, play pickleball, age gracefully. I can go on and on. Collagen's the glue that holds us together. We are literally falling apart, and there's no one that can argue with that.
Hey, Jordan, if you're in the geriatric group, and I always tell everybody life is a sport. If you're in your late 80s, your sport might be going to the toilet, but I want you to be a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, I've never quite thought of it that way, but
we want those knees to get you up and get you down.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah. And while you're at the toilet, you might as well be a Pro Bowler and have good elimination too. Right. So there you have it.
Right.
Okay,
Alex, let's go rapid fire here with Jordan so we get all this good stuff in.
Yes. Okay. Jordan, I sent the ingredients list of your greens plus one daily, your collagen, and your ashwagandha to a world-class MD scientist researcher at a major university. And I asked him, okay, give me your opinion of this as who you are. And it was about a week later, and he contacted me back, and he said, I thought I'd seen everything. He said, if you are taking these 3 things every day with this ingredient list, and I'm assuming this ingredient list is correct, he said, what I would say is this would satisfy your daily requirements for fruits, for vegetables, in a normal adult situation for calcium, and for about 95% of all other basic nutritional needs. And he said, Alex, I have never said that about anything before. And when Dr. Adair, who knows a tremendous amount, has a degree in clinical nutrition, et cetera, saw the ingredient list, I bet he said to me 5 or 6 times, boy, this is so clever the way they have formulated this, and especially the greens with the one daily. So, Jordan, would you agree with what the MD researcher told me, and what would you add to that?
Well, I would take it a different direction. I think that these 3 products taken together meet the needs in today's world of 95+% people, but it goes far beyond vitamins and minerals. And we already talked about collagen being the glue that holds us together. What's special about ashwagandha, it's not like collagen where we all are deficient in this particular herb. The problem that ashwagandha addresses is an abundance of cortisol in the body. And if you think about it, cortisol is the stress hormone that is really good when you're being chased by a bear in a national forest. It's fight or flight. It soups up your adrenals. It's like shocking your system. However, when you're sitting on your rear end on a Zoom meeting like I am, or we are, if you're sleeping, if you're minding your own business, you don't want elevated cortisol. Cortisol levels that are too high make you look older, feel lethargic, you're in a bad mood, you crave more carbs, the list goes on and on. I believe that because of the world we live in, hyper convenience, bad news at our fingertips, we're always worrying and hearing, did you hear this? I mean, think about it. Every time you open your computer, smartphone, you see a shooting somewhere, or you see some horrible negative thing about an athlete, or it's always negative. My grandmother, who died years and years ago, would always joke around saying, I'm watching the good news on TV, because it was a joke, because it's never good news. All of that contributes to increased cortisol, which makes you age faster. So if you can find a way to lower cortisol levels, it is absolutely incredible for adults of all ages. And the ashwagandha formula that's certified organic that you're offering in clinical studies lowers cortisol levels by an average of 24.4% and increases DHEA, which may be a hormone akin to the fountain of youth that helps to increase testosterone if you're a man, progesterone if you're a woman. So I'm not going to say that every vitamin and mineral known to man is found in our products. I think it's more than that, because vitamins and minerals are not all that we need. So I do think if you can boost your skeletal system with collagen, if you can lower your cortisol with ashwagandha, and if you can increase your ability to energize, detoxify, support your immune system and your gut while getting your greens, that it is an awesome 1-2-3 combo. And I think, look, we created these products. You all put them together in this format. I'm excited to see how well people begin to experience revitalization, maybe even in areas they didn't know were broken or thought there was no hope in improving. That's going to be really exciting.
So Jordan, the goal was with our paradigm of structure, one side of the triangle, chemistry, one side of the triangle, and emotional, one side of the triangle. We were looking at your incredible product line going, which one fits each one of these things the best? And I think you gave us some raw materials to fit in each side of those triangle. Just fabulous.
Thank you.
Tim, go ahead with your rapid fire, because we've got about 15 minutes and we've got a number of questions already.
So I got two that are must ask Jordan questions, and I don't know the answer. So that's why I want to ask these two. And so Jordan, going way back and doing clinical nutrition for over 25 years, I have to see something in a product line that works for my patients. And the big thing that I think helps in a ton of deficiencies is, and there's different terms depending on where you're trained, but like mammalian, glandular, or protomorphogens, or whatever the term is, I would love to hear your philosophy on that and how you included those in your product line, and just tell the audience tonight, if you would, about maybe some of those mammalian building blocks that we can use in our bodies.
Absolutely. I am an absolute huge fan of glandulars or organs. I think if we look to nature, you'll understand why. Every native people culture and every predator animal, when they make a kill or made a kill, they first go for the organs, starting with the liver, because the organs have the greatest density of nutritional value on the planet, number one. And number two, they contain beneficial compounds and building blocks that correspond to your organ or tissue. People don't realize this, but the original pharmaceuticals, many of them were made from organs. Cortisone, which came from cortisol, was based on an adrenal extract from animals. Insulin came from an animal. Thyroid medication originally came from animal thyroid. Certain enzymes were derived from an animal pancreas. And throughout history, our parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents consumed glandulars, liver, onions. They would consume thymus, which was called sweetbread, which is a powerful immune system boost. Heart, they would consume, you name it, even brain. And they didn't know exactly what we know today, but these organs not only contain vitamins, minerals, essential fats, enzymes, but they contain compounds that can only be found in those respective organs. And research dating back way beyond the 1900s show that these organs or glandulars, whether consumed as food or supplements, are powerful because of the principle that like supports like. So it's really a no-brainer. We're excited not only to utilize these organs or glandulars in the current formulas, but we are right now, today and tomorrow, formulating many new products that utilize these organs and glandulars. They're some of the most effective and fast-acting products and ingredients I have ever seen. Again, not because they're miraculous, but because they're missing. And here's a cool story. My grandmother in the early 1900s was in the hospital with pernicious anemia, B12 deficiency. The treatment was raw liver in the hospital because it is one of nature's richest sources of B12. How far? Now we just give an injection. I believe the food is better than the injection.
Jordan, I can say this because it's not my company, it's yours. But when Alex and I were looking around and trying to select which tools we were going to buy to do the job that we're trying to do, one of the ways that I will look at a nutrition line and go, that's some good stuff, or let's move on, this is garbage, is whether or not it has what you just talked about. And man, I am really impressed with your formulations. And so, Alex, you know, I'm a basketball guy. We talk about Jordan being the GOAT. This Jordan might be the GOAT also. He's put together some real good stuff there that, and in practice, I see 25 patients a day from all over the place. If you don't get results, they give up on you real quick. And you're talking about hope. If you don't get enough change soon enough, they'll lose hope. And those glandulars are what helps me to accomplish that task. And so I'm really impressed with your product line.
And I will say this just real quick. I didn't mention this about the organic super greens plus multivitamin. The great part about that formula is that you can hear on the radio and on podcasts, there's a brand out there that advertises their greens and their multivitamin. Their greens are not organic. Their multivitamins are synthetic. We have the first ever certified organic greens plus organic multivitamins, 25 superfoods plus 22 vitamins and minerals. That's right there, 47 powerful ingredients that you're not getting on a daily basis. And they check so many boxes. It's exciting to be a part of a company that will create products with the consumer in mind and spare no expense, which is what we've tried to do since our inception.
Jordan, my curiosity is driving me crazy. I'm sorry. Is that your farm behind you?
Yes. And I couldn't even believe the picture when they sent it to me. It was just a kind of a morning when the dew was lifting. We've got rainbow pictures, but nothing that looks like you're in heaven. So I love this photo.
So that's Ancient Nutrition right behind you on the ground.
That is Ancient Nutrition on the ground, about to go in the mouth of some kind of awesome animal that we're raising, or it could be something we harvest for one of our ingredients. And it's right here in Tennessee, about an hour south of where we are, 2 hours south of where Dr. Tim is. He's a little further north.
Well, I can make the drive though, Jordan. That's no problem.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
And hey, speaking, and let's don't bore Alex to death like the last time we had this conversation, but while you're talking about the ground, tell them a little bit about the soil and mycelium and what you have gone to make your organic farm so prosperous.
Well, we are the first farm in Tennessee's history to be regenerative organic certified. That's beyond organic, and it involves caring for soil, animals, and farmers, which is so important to our ecosystem. And in order to maintain the certification, we need to objectively improve our ecosystem literally every day. So we can't stay the same. We must regenerate all aspects. And it's a major passion of mine. God gave me a plan literally to heal the planet. I know it's controversial because certain political organizations have tried to take this environmentalism, climate change in the wrong direction. But the bottom line is God made us stewards over the planet. And he literally says that the earth is crying out to his people to bring regeneration. And I've heeded the call. And if you're part of our customer base, any Ancient Nutrition product you purchase, we dedicate a percentage of proceeds to our regenerative agriculture projects, where we're going to show the world how to recreate the Garden of Eden based on Jesus giving us those keys to the kingdom he took back from you know who. So super exciting strategy and and life calling that we have.
And Jordan, to efficiently go through this, tell them, because of its organic and the way that you're doing things, what's not in there.
But we don't use any pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, chemical fertilizers. We don't treat our animals with antibiotics. We don't vaccinate them. And even when the soil regenerates, it creates more pure water, helps our neighbors because we are keeping pollution down. And it is an absolute virtuous cycle across the board. And not to mention, we have 3,000 plus chickens, ducks, and turkeys. We donated 50,000 eggs over the last 2 years to vulnerable populations. But get this, these aren't just any eggs. These birds are fed exclusively from food scraps from health food stores, eating over 100 varieties of fruits, vegetables, meats, etc. every day. So we're getting some of these individuals the healthiest food they've ever eaten. So we love what we do at our Ancient Nutrition Center for Regenerative Agriculture, and you two need to visit soon. It's a lot of fun.
And Jordan, I'll bring an extra one for Alex, but I own a shovel. You put me to work.
Well, here's the good news. You might not need a shovel because we don't like to plow or dig. You just got to get your hands dirty.
Oh, cool.
You're gonna we're one of the first farms in the state of Tennessee to grow turmeric sustainably. We grow 3 varieties: blue, golden, and green. You're gonna be like a kid in a health food store, Dr. Adair. It's like gonna be awesome. I coined that phrase, by the way, a kid in a health food store, because I don't go to a candy store.
Right, there you go.
Tim, how about we go to the questions from our audience?
Can I ask one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I think this will really help people. Jordan, I'm sorry, I don't want to monopolize you, but I got you here. So, and this is a good one. So I had one of my most esteemed professors when I was training used to talk about in some of the formulations of whole food supplements versus synthetics. He would say some of the best things that were in the formula were unknowns. And what he meant by that is that sometimes when we're synthesizing and slapping stuff together in the lab, we don't necessarily know the combinations that all need to go in there. But in nature, those things, those cofactors and coenzymes and the things that we might not, the unknowns, they magically combine. Would you comment on that in your formulas?
Absolutely. Well, we use certain parts of plants, for example, that have some of them 38 known antioxidant groups, not even antioxidants. And that's besides the vitamins and minerals we do know. And man is constantly discovering new compounds in plants. And then when you ferment plants, you unlock even more powerful compounds, what you'd call downstream metabolites, et cetera. I absolutely agree that the vitamin or mineral that we have identified or synthesized is literally the tip of the iceberg. Literally, there's so much more beneath the surface that is responsible for our nutritional value. And one day I want to talk to you about our medicinal mushrooms that we grow, because they're treated like kings and queens. We use a certain special type of structured water. We subject our mushrooms to chromotherapy, which is full spectrum of colors, and full spectrum of sound frequencies 24/7. And we just leave no stone unturned. That's our goal.
And ladies and gentlemen, I believe the reason they do these crazy things that no one else does, it's not to make more money. I don't believe. I believe it's because Jordan and Josh have this passion to heal the world, to help hurting people. Tim, can I go to the audience?
See how he treats me, Jordan? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Jordan, this has to be rapid fire. We've only got 5 minutes. This is a good one, and we've had this one multiple times, Jordan. What are the recommended dosages for these 3 products for a child, for instance, an 8-year-old?
All right, this is a tough one. Easy to answer, but a tough one. This is going to have to be your own choice, because we do formulate our products for adults. That being said, collagen, greens, even ashwagandha is completely safe. What I would start doing is start with multi-collagen protein, maybe 1 scoop a day in a smoothie, in yogurt. If you're doing meat sauce. You can put it in water. It's just so easy. I put it in my wife's coffee, but your 8-year-old shouldn't be consuming coffee. Start with multi-collagen protein, then add greens. As far as ashwagandha goes, I don't know that an 8-year-old needs ashwagandha unless you know for a fact they have high cortisol levels. But if you're under the care of a natural health practitioner, they can also lead and guide you as well. But as a parent, you can help determine what the best usage for whole food nutritional products would be.
Right. All right. Another
And
question.
Alex, let me add to something on that. There's definitely days in our busy modern lives that we're not getting all our veggies in. That's a no-brainer on that day, right, Jordan?
Absolutely. And this is something that is an acquired taste. It tastes good, not great, but we don't make it taste like chocolate cupcakes, because if it did, it wouldn't be good for you. So it's a pleasant tasting green superfood.
It actually has a little bit of a sweet taste to me. All right, Jordan, here's another good one. What time of day do you recommend taking these for an adult?
Okay, first of all, I recommend if you have been deficient in collagen, you want to load up on collagen as 3 servings a day. It's great in the morning, great in the middle of the day, and really great at night. There's lots of research that show consuming collagen at night helps stimulate repair overnight. I like greens early in the day, probably first thing, to help alkalize the body, really just bring those minerals. And then ashwagandha can be taken with meals. If you're really stressed or have been under stress for a prolonged period of time, double the dose, possibly with breakfast and dinner, 1 tablet each.
Okay, great. Here's another statement. I'm a longtime fan of Jordan Rubin. I really love the 3-pack Genius formulation. I normally can't take supplements with spirulina, and I took a leap of faith because of Jordan's name behind it. And sure enough, 2 weeks in, and I noticed a huge change in energy and an overall sense of well-being and a big smiley face. I wanted to ask, do you have any suggestion to reverse tooth decay, cavities? What do you brush with, etc.?
Okay, I can't really talk about diseases per se, but here's a couple of quick things. Every morning after I have some supplements and a big glass of water, I do something called oil pulling. And I think it's great for your overall oral health. I swish a teaspoon of coconut oil in my mouth, kind of get it, work it around through my teeth, etc., for about 20 minutes. Some people hate it, but you'll get used to it. It's great for your gums and your teeth, and it's great to pull out debris, etc. From a toothpaste perspective, I use a toothpaste that has clay, charcoal, and essential oils. I know that sounds gross, but it's great for so many things. You can make your own. Some people use baking soda. That's great too. But I really like to use clay, charcoal. These are things that pull toxins out of the body, and they can help naturally support your tooth's enamel.
Okay, another question, Jordan. And I'm not familiar with this. I don't know if you are or not. How would you compare your products to Break the Cycle? Are you familiar with that? Break the Cycle.
I am not familiar with Break the Cycle supplements.
Okay, then what I would ask then is why buy yours instead of some other brand?
We try to create solutions for problems with tools that don't currently exist. So we don't make a product that you can find anywhere else. Our multi-collagen protein, for example, has 10 types of collagen. The competitors have 1 or 2. We have an ingredient that has 5 clinical studies to start working in as little as 1 day and continue to work months later. That's just one example. Nothing we have is ordinary. Everything we create is for myself and Dr. Axe and our family, and we're blessed to share it with the world. There are some great products out there, but if a solution is suitable and it exists, we wouldn't be making one. So we believe what we create is the best for you, highest quality, best efficacy, and best for the environment.
Okay, we're going to go just 1 or 2 minutes over here because we've got Jordan tonight. Last question, Jordan. and then whatever you want to share. I struggle with sleep. Will one of these or all three of these, in your opinion, help any with my sleep?
I think all three can contribute to good sleep, but the ashwagandha by far is the most important. So this ashwagandha is clinically studied to support healthy sleep. You'll love this too, Alex. Helps to reduce stress, increase energy, and helps to reduce feelings of anxiousness and improve a positive mindset, all due to cortisol decrease. And I know, Dr. Adair, you can attest to the fact that people have elevated cortisol at all the wrong times, including at night. So it isn't just about falling asleep, it's about staying asleep. If you do have true sleep challenges, here's 3 quick tips. Get off caffeine completely, because even morning caffeine consumption with its half-life can be contributing to restlessness. I don't believe coffee's bad. I'm just saying in your case, you might want to reduce it. And take 2 tablets of ashwagandha, 1 in the morning and 1 at night, to give that 24-hour support for lowering cortisol.
Okay.
Alex, let me add something to that. In our podcast we did previously, we showed a little cranial technique where we got in there, done right before bedtime, that stimulates melatonin production from the pineal.
Yeah, and you can go back and watch that podcast if you missed that. All right, Tim, last words.
Jordan, I'm honored that you came on with us. I'm a fan of your formulations. In my clinic, I don't give anything to my patients I wouldn't take myself, and I am picky. And I'm about to pick up a couple of your product lines and put them in my clinic and start to share those with lots of people. And matter of fact, I've got a couple hundred pro athletes that are injured, and we're going to get them on a little collagen experiment, and I'll let you know what the results are.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Jordan, thank you so much for being here. I'm so honored. I mean, I'm a little peon, and for you to partner with me and do this with me and Tim is a big honor for me. So thank you. Last words from you, Jordan.
I just appreciate being able to play a small role in what you all are doing. I truly believe that the work of spinal correction, removing sort of the cause of challenges, removing that interference, and then Alex, what you do to help people just rest, gain peace, and understand how to rid your trunk of the past junk has been a great help to me personally. And I just think this combination is going to bless so many people. So excited to be a part of it. Thank you all for having me. And we got to get on the farm, get your boots ready. It's time to get going.
I really do.
I love to play in the dirt. I haven't outgrown that.
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the order links are all on your screen. They're on the right side of my screen. I think they're either on the right or left of yours under the webinar chat. If you missed any of the podcasts, you can go back and watch them. They're all archived. And Jordan, thank you so much. And we're supporting you. We're praying for you. I've got one last question, and it's yes or no. And then if the answer is yes, it's 0 to 10. All right. So here's my last question, Jordan. In your opinion, I think you've wowed us all tonight with the nutrition, but you're here for me because of your heart and your faith and because of the person you are as I've known you. So this question's coming from a little different angle. In your opinion, does spirituality have any effect on health?
I can only speak personally. The answer is yes. And I would say, honestly, it's a 10. I often say, and I'm going to leave you with this because the Lord spoke to me so clearly about this. We often ask a question as believers, and I'm sure the two of you had, when you're dealing with terrible situations, how often have you said, what would I do without God? I mean, is that something that you, because or how do people survive without God? So I was saying one morning, what would I do without God? And then God said, here's a better question to ask. What will you do with God?
Okay. Yeah. And I would also rate that as a 10. The times in my life when I've been sick have typically been times when I've not been where I needed to be spiritually. Times when I've tended to heal and get better and feel great have been times when I'm connected and are right spiritually. So we're talking about nutrition, and that is huge. And thank you so much, Jordan. But spirituality is key. If you're letting that fall, please, you need to pick it up.
Well, guys, the thing that heals your body is what you put in your body, what you eat, what you drink, what you see, and what you hear.
That's right.
And that's the input that rebuilds you.
So thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Tim. Love you, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. We'll see you next time. And please get these nutritions and start changing your life today.
Thank you, guys. Jordan, thank you, man.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you, gents.
Love you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Laura. Love you.